Shit, what's the name of the thing? Neighborhood Watch. Okay.
That's how you should start the podcast.
We're going. Welcome to Neighborhood Watch, everyone. Episode 2. I'm your host, Michael Giannis, as always. I'm joined today by my good friend Russ. How you doing, Russ?
Hello. Wait. Episode 2?
Is episode 2 of the podcast. Yeah, for everyone at home, let me explain. So the resource that we are using is something that's known as, what is it? Sesame Street Classics, Volume 1. I was under the impression that this was a complete collection of Season 1 and 2 of the Sesame Street. I was mistaken. This seems to be some sort of best of like old Sesame Street. So this was 56. This was episode 56 that we're covering in episode 2. I vow to you that we will eventually cover all 4,000 episodes. I just can't promise that they'll be in order. But my commitment is still to the ludicrous idea, regardless. So anyway, episode 56, it's called an orange Grouch and a green Grover.
That is true.
Yeah. Before we jump in, Nathan, what's like your history with Sesame Street? Did you watch a bunch?
I did not. I am aware that it is a children's show.
Okay.
I have probably seen several episodes as a child.
Okay, that's more than Jared did. He said he'd never seen an episode to his knowledge.
I can't remember seeing one, but I assume I have.
Yeah.
Also, as a child, I had a Game Boy. And I had a game. It was like Elmo. I remember like Elmo was juggling. Elmo was juggling letters, and I had to get certain letters.
Okay. You played that a lot? Was that like a go-to?
No. Definitely not. I didn't like.
Yeah,
that was the game I played when I forgot my games on the road trip. I was stuck with it.
Yeah, that sounds like that kind of thing. So yeah, here we go. An orange Grouch and a green Grover. Our first thing, they're still sticking with the clay, these weird little clay monsters, with like the weird like sockets for eyes.
Yes.
But the first scene, it starts with Oscar, still orange, has not fully transitioned.
Wait, so that's my point of confusion here. I thought Oscar was green.
Yeah, see, Oscar was initially orange and stayed orange for some time, just like Cookie Monster, we learned, was not initially like introduced in Cookie Monster. His first on-screen appearance eating things was not a cookie. He was eating the letter W.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's misleading.
Yeah, so, and did Big Bird show up in this one?
Who is Dave Burton?
Dave Burton.
Was he the black man?
The black guy's name is Gordon.
Shit.
That might be the actor's name.
Are you asking do you know the answer to this question?
I don't know who Dave is.
Who's Dave Burton? Why did you ask if he's in it?
What?
You asked if Dave Burton is in this episode.
I said Big Bird. You're the worst.
I'm sorry. Yes, he was in it.
Big Bird was in it.
There was a brief sequence.
Yeah, he was a lot more. My point was that he was a lot more pin-headed in the first season. They've changed his design somewhat. Ernie as well has become more familiar. He's got his shirt now. He was shirtless in the first episode.
Also, the important thing to distinguish, I think, for the viewer is that as we watch this show, it's Sesame Street, right? But I'd like to remind you, this is not a street. It is a television show. And it's produced in the early bit of the latter half of the 1900s.
This is true, yeah.
This, mind you, is a century, mind you, that began educating its children with corporal punishment, capital punishment, slave labor, desks that could not move of their own accord, or most people's accord. Most children were not educated in the public school, probably. A lot of countries did not have public schools, probably.
Times have absolutely changed, you're right.
That's all at the beginning of 19, and by the end of it, we had Harry Potter. And Hogwarts is not a public school, mind you, but there aren't many public schools in the wizarding world, but politics aside, I think this is a fair representative, like, of what it was like in this midway point of that century of education.
It's a slice of life,
For sure.
if you will. So after that, Mr. Hooper comes up to Oscar. He's the local ice cream shop, apparently. We met him in the first episode, but it was just like a passing, oh, hey, Mr. Hooper. He owns the ice cream shop. Oscar wants a black bean sundae.
That is also true.
Yeah, much to Mr. Hooper's chagrin, he's not pleased that he wants this disgusting meal.
Everything you're saying is, in fact, true.
Then we go into the 3 song that we're oh so familiar with. I've got to say, this is where my frustration started to kick in, because I was super jazzed to be watching this next episode, because like I was kind of into the first one. There was a lot of good stuff, but here, as we got into it, I started to realize they're starting to recycle a lot of their animation.
You were disillusioned.
I was. I'm.
That's unfair to you. See, maybe I'm just more cynical than you, because I was disillusioned even before that, and I didn't even see the first episode, because when Mr. Hooper, was it?
Mr. Hooper, yeah.
Mr. Hooper, his profession is an ice cream man.
Yeah.
Professional, right? One lends itself to the other. Which one, I'm not sure. But the point is, there's a certain code of ethics that must be followed, as I'm sure you are aware of this. And
are you calling Mr. Hooper's ethics into question?
I am.
See, now that was kind of, I feel like that was kind of an undercurrent. Maybe some of the kids didn't catch on, but there was definitely some sort of sharp criticism of Mr. Hooper's sort of I'm not gonna beat around the bush. He has a very fascist view of his ice cream shop.
He does. He says Sundays can only be the certain thing, and he didn't outwardly ostracize or even criticize. What was his name?
Oscar.
The
Grouch. Mr. Grouch.
Mr.
the Grouch.
Mr. Grouch?
Mr. the Grouch.
Mr. the Grouch. Okay,
that's
so he
his
didn't
father. Call him Oscar.
Okay, Oscar he did not receive the best treatment in his ice cream transaction, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because he was just saying, hey, this is what I want. Mr. Hooper had the ingredients, as we see later in the scene.
There was no conflict about his possession of said beans
There's
and
no
pickles.
reason why he couldn't have just provided it just outright, just, it's your business. I'm going to stay out of your bedroom or trash can, whatever you live in. I'm not going to tell you what you eat on your Sunday.
Right.
But, and then he had the nerve, even after that, Oscar requested, and correct me if I'm wrong, a chocolate ice cream sundae with baked beans and a radish, right?
Yeah, we first saw Mr. Hooper's strictness peeking through when he insisted that it be vanilla. Oscar corrects him that it's chocolate, and then
Mr. Hooper runs into Big Bird, the aforementioned pin-headed bird. He's sort of just this instrument of Mr. Hooper, and they just sort of, it's just sickening how they just egg each other on like this and just get off on it, and how just ridding the common man of his fucking rights. I mean, they're fucking fascists. He's just he's his, like, if I were to go on the internet right now, which I could, I'm at a computer, I could look up who, like, one of Stalin or Hitler's or another dictator's henchmen, Francisco Franco, Mussolini, what have you.
Etc.
And I could look it up, and I could look up who helped those guys out. If I were to look up that information, let's call that name X, I would say Big Bird is just Mr. Hooper's ex.
It would certainly seem that way, and I really hope that, like, as the series goes on, as we venture further into these 4,000 episodes, that we start to see some sort of progressive change. Because right now it's really off-putting. I'm hoping that it's just, a relic of the past. Because if I have to watch 4,000 more episodes of this, like,
Big Bird
just
changing ice cream
hateful.
orders. Big Bird was never even involved in the transaction. At least Mr. Hooper is the owner, he's the proprietor of this ice cream shop. Big Bird just comes in and says, "No, it's better with fucking strawberry," which is his opinion.
It's awful. After that, we get another bit of the Three song, same animation, same song. I'm not pleased.
Given that this was my first time seeing it,
what did you think?
I did not have much to say about it, except that parts of it were scary. If I were a small child, I don't know, I'm not. I can't put myself in these kinds of shoes like that. But you got to try to achieve some level of empathy.
Yeah.
I think if I were a small child, I would not be able to handle that sort of scariness. It's like it's the pink elephants on parade all over again.
It really is. After that, we get a Christian song by our good friend Celebrity. I did not write her name down. It's not important.
Oh, I did.
Yes.
Mahalia Jackson? Is that correct?
You may be bungling the pronunciation.
Am I? Mahalia? Oh wait, did I write an A or an E? I googled it. There are no E's.
That's a mistake, because E is a prominent figure in this episode.
Yeah,
they really should have gone for the tie-in there with a celebrity with plenty of E's in their name.
Well, maybe they're trying to avoid that being seen as just, whatever letter just throws money at the show can just be in all the guest names.
I want to believe you, but with so much product placement, it's hard to see that as a reality.
I'm currently on Mahalia Jackson's Wikipedia page.
Yeah. Tell us a bit about Miss Jackson.
So, she was an American gospel singer, and, quote, sang God's music because it makes her feel free.
That's good.
It gives her hope.
This checks out because she's saying he's got the whole world in his hands, which you did not know was a religious tune.
Are you sure? Can someone fact check that? Do we have fact checkers on this program? Is someone?
Yeah, let me just ask the producer. Yeah, he'll Google it for us.
Find a booth and ask the people in it to fact check that.
But it is indeed, what else could it be about? Who else has the whole world in his hands other than...
We all do, that's the point.
Well, not back then.
Well, that's what they're aiming for. She worked for civil rights, man. We all gotta work together. But it's like the royal it's all of us. We all have a bit of the world. We have to share it. That allegory about the blind men feeling the elephant, and they each know a bit of the elephant, but
yep.
Yeah, they need to share that. We need to share the earth. You don't own it.
I like that reading a lot more, to be honest. There was one kid, he was not doing great at the... There was 4 kids surrounding them. One kid was not catching on to the changes in hand movements when they switched from clapping to, mimicking a baby.
He claps to the beat of his own drummer.
Yeah, that gives a lot more credence to your reading as opposed to mine, where I assumed it was the sweet baby Jesus.
See, you're playing into their fascist fucking...
I do. I've watched so much I've watched twice as much Sesame Street as you.
That is true, but I have played... How many Game Boy games have you played?
I haven't touched a single one. After that, we got introduced to the letter E.
That is good. Although, I think that's a bit early. I think that if the target audience is not aware of the letter E at this point in the show, they should just cover the alphabet in the beginning. Because, like I said, not like I said, whatever... Before, there were various E's used in the dialogue.
Yeah, that's something I really appreciate about, modern TV shows. I remember Breaking Bad was really good about that. They always started off...
began with the letters.
Yep.
Alphabet. You can't put that shit at the end. I think this show format is unsustainable because you can't... It's viewers will just literally not understand what is happening. Much like the... clapper of the song we were previously So the letter E.
Yeah, it was another one of those abstract animations, same one from the first episode. Nathan, any thoughts?
Well, E is a useful letter. It's a pleasant letter to say. I feel it in my throat. As I say it now, various words, many words, it's a common letter, have the letter E that I am saying. And as I touch my hand to my throat, I feel it. How do you feel about the letter E?
I mean, it's up there. You can't live without it. That's what I would say.
Did the song give it justice?
I mean, no, you have to take in. That's a very narrow-minded view of this Sesame Street. You have to take it in as just a part of the E canon. You know, if you haven't like really dug into the E classics, I really don't think you can truly appreciate what this animation brought and sort of added to. Because there's a lot of like intertextuality between this and some of your, more respected bits. Because Sesame Street, it's though it is old, it is relatively new speaking in terms of like the history of media.
Yeah, like I said before, the desks couldn't move.
Yeah. So after that, we've got Kermit. He's teaching us about prepositions.
Wait.
Oh, yeah.
E.
E.
Yeah, remember, he was fitting it and everything. I think that this bit had a good message. See, now I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know if they're supporting this fascist regime or if they're kind of like underground, like kind of fighting it from the inside. I think that there's some rogue writer on the cast here, or crew, whatever part the writer fits in on.
Mm-hmm.
And because the, what's his name, Gordon?
Yeah.
He took the E and he placed it against various things, namely one thing in different spots. A door. And you could fit an E like anywhere if you wanted to. I think that that's a good message, that if you really want something to be, it can. Reality is subjective.
It is. It's all our perception.
Definitely.
So after that, we go to Kermit teaching us about prepositions, as I said, visited by his good pal Grover. First visit to Grover. Big Grover fan over here. How do you feel about Grover, Nathan?
I think that he needs to work on prepositions. But that's why we're here. It's a learning experience for all of us. I learned something myself in the show. I'll get to that later.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're getting something out of this too. But Grover needs he's a couple steps back compared to us.
Definitely.
Not to bring our presentist view to this, but I think just objectively speaking, he's got some ground to cover.
He definitely does. Rather, ground?
Perhaps.
As Kermit explains the box, Grover looks everywhere but the box. And then when he tries to look in the box, there's a monster. So I think that this is, like I said, I'm kind of on the fence now, because I think that this show does have a good message. I think that whoever that lone rider fighting the machine man, he was in there. I think this was written by him, because it's teaching us not to think inside the box. Wherever you do, think anywhere but inside the box. You can think on the side of the box, you can think on top of the box, you can think under the box. I remember at the time, as we were reviewing it, you were surprised that Grover chose under the box. So he was thinking even more outside the box than you.
It's true.
Puppets have equality. They don't have equality, but they deserve equality. They have the same capabilities, that's what I was trying to say, because they can go anywhere around a box that we can.
So if I can read ahead, if I can look at your trajectory here, I don't want to make too many presumptions, but are you building to some sort of like puppets v humans sort of world in Sesame Street? Is that going to be a later season's arc?
Well, are you familiar with Charles Manson?
I am, yes.
Okay, so the murders that his family carried out in the previous years, they were done because he believed in this interpretation of the Beatles song Helter Skelter, in which it would end with a race war, and he wanted to sort of take that initial step and what's the word for when you, like, a catalyst? What's the verb of catalyst, but not catalyze?
Cauterize.
Yeah, so he wanted to cauterize it. I think that this writer is trying to cauterize Puppet Helter Skelter.
We'll have to wait and see. You will definitely be on for those episodes if we do get to Sesame Street Helter Skelter.
I hope we do.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep myself in the dark.
Already.
So after a little preposition bit, which I do want to give a lot of credit to the ending of the demon being inside that box. It was a good reveal because we were placing this blame upon Grover for just being too dumb to know what in means, but he was really like avoiding the fact that there's like a horrible monster inside this box.
Yeah, Kermit's just an asshole. Fucking fascist pig, man. Fucking.
Yep. Well, no, it's Miss Piggy.
Like lead fucking.
Miss Piggy's the pig.
Masses into the same fucking hole like fucking lemmings, like with lemmings, frogs, G's ends both end with G. There, fucking letters, Sesame Street.
Miss Piggy's the frog. So after that, Buddy, and what is his name? Jimmy, Buddy and Jim.
Buddy and Jim. Yeah.
They're up to their classic antics again. They've got 2 pairs of shoes, a pair of boots, and a pair of tennis shoes, and they got 2 boxes, one big box and one little box. And Jim, he's sweeping up. Long day at the gym shop, and the gym.
Huh.
And Buddy's got to put the two shoes into the 2 boxes, as per Jimmy's orders.
The 2 sets of shoes, to be clear.
Yes, two pairs, you might say. Something we learned about in the previous episode, and this one. Which is important. Not only have they been repeating animation, it's the same set of sponsors, which is concerning going forward. I'm a little worried about that.
We need variety, otherwise...
Diversity, you're right. No.
Otherwise, there won't be... We need this sort of... in art.
In Buddy and Jimmy's struggle, they, of course, find every possible way to not put these 2 shoes in the correct boxes. 2 pairs of shoes, excuse me. What if I've learned nothing? I've learned nothing here.
Well, what we've learned is that each shoe, when taken with another shoe, is a pair of shoes. So then you need to take those shoes. Am I going too fast? Do you understand the use of... So, pairs.
Yeah, the pairs of shoes. That segues into it. Should be mentioned that this conflict is not resolved.
Yeah, they try literally every possible combination except for putting the correct pair in the correct box and for using the fruit pair.
Yep. We're left with Jim leaving to go to his tennis match in boots. That is their solution.
Well, what's wrong with using boots in tennis? I think this relates to the E sketch about how, like, an E can fit into everything. Boots can fit into any sport.
I mean, no.
Well, the world is what you... Look at baseball uniforms. They've made do with that shitty uniform. Imagine if they wore, like, I'm not familiar with baseball. Are you?
I'm wearing a Giants shirt right now. San Francisco Giants.
When the baseball teams practice, do they practice in like similar clothing to the uniforms they wear during a game?
Or do they just wear like
gym shorts and shirts?
Yeah.
Because gym shorts and shirts are easier, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a purposeful hindrance. So really, I think Jim is just setting a handicap for him to get over. Because that's what life is about. It's about climbing these mountains.
That's definitely true. In the next scene, it's more pair talk. We're seeing not the fruit, mind you. We see a lot of two
Which is a
things.
missed opportunity.
It is there. We went this whole episode. There's a fruit scene, not a pair to be found. It's really, yeah. Lots of just pictures of 2 things on screen, as some nice lady narrates. There's really nothing special about this bit, unless you've seen something different, Russ.
Is that the one? No.
It's just 2 animals, different animals.
Yeah, no, that was.
There's nothing here for anyone. We get the erasing kid, this short, weird little like minute long sketch. His kid's got some sort of magic eraser that erases reality.
Yeah, and you might... I like it. It's the kid, he's erasing his problems. I like it.
See, that's troubling to me. That's troubling to me in the way that he's about to be brought to justice for his transgressions by these authority figures. And then he just erases them, and he's like the victor. He's standing proud on the number 10.
That's how it
the
works.
Number 10 is involved. Whenever there's a song, you cannot have a song without counting. It's become clear. But yeah, you were going to say something about this erasing of the authority figures.
Yeah, I think that whole sketch, it's really not surprising for them to include this bit, because it's sort of just a natural progression of the theme they've been carrying throughout this episode of choosing your own reality, as we've seen with the E's and with the pairs of shoes, because we choose to have these problems. The only problem is in our heads, and that's us saying, I have a problem, I should be worried about this. No, instead, you can just tell yourself, I shouldn't be worried about this, and you won't. We all have a fucking eraser, but the man doesn't want you to do that. But you know what? When the man comes to take your eraser away, just fucking erase them too, bitches.
After that, we go to the Great Horned Owl, which was really a treat because it was very apparent that the actor on screen had no script, was simply describing features of this owl that he had maybe heard of. Their eyes are on the front of their heads. Fun fact. It was really just an owl. They had an owl in the studio, apparently. It must have been like on Johnny Carson or something. And they said, we've got this owl. We should probably use it.
Owls are pests, right? Or is that just in Futurama?
That has not come to be yet. I respect owls a lot, actually.
Ah.
Because, they share so many similarities with us. Nocturnal.
Here's a fun fact. Here's another thing they share with us.
Yeah.
Owls are also not blind during daytime. That was once a common myth.
After that, we go into just another montage of birds. No singing this time. Just birds on screen for like 2 minutes. Nice music. I like birds. I'd like a pet bird. Eventually.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the benefit?
I think it's cool. I want to be a pirate. It's really like this fulfilling, like this weird pirate need that I have. I think about pirates a lot.
That's really the worst aspect of being a pirate, and that's including being like drawn and quartered.
You really think having a bird is the worst part? That's like the best.
Yeah, it shits all over you and squawks. And how do you take care of a fucking parrot in the middle of the ocean? That's like so far removed from its natural environment. I think we should get PETA on this shit.
Well, I mean, parrots, they're like connected to you. There's a special bond formed between a man and the thing that is currently sitting on its shoulder. And I think you're not giving this enough credit.
Only because you create that bond. Like, you choose to create that.
No, I definitely disagree with you.
That's fine if you want to, but I don't think you should want to.
Regardless, Ernie and Bert and Ernie, as they're more traditionally called, play a fun little game. What happens next? I play this all the time. It's a lot of fun at parties.
It is.
Yeah, you should try it. Come up with some pictures. Sometimes they're dirty pictures,
So, with this picture sketch,
the pictures are not the point. Let's be clear. Learning what happens next is not the point of this sketch.
What is the point?
Well, Ernie has an overactive imagination, you see.
Yes.
He's creating all these scenarios in his head from like very simple pictures. It'll be like a girl swinging back on a swing, and Bert will be like, "What happens next?" And then Ernie, that's my Bert, by the way.
Solid.
Yeah. Ernie will come up with some just ridiculous story about how she's going to go home and get a peanut butter sandwich, and there's not going to be any peanut butter, so they go to the store, and she brings her rubber ducky. A nice bit of foreshadowing, by the way.
Yes.
And she's going to leave the rubber ducky at the store, so it's super sad. And Bert's like, that's not what happens. This happens 3 times, as is traditional with sketches.
Yes. Would you say that Ernie's imaginative stories are a projection of his own personality and wants and needs and wants as a person?
Well, I think he's sort of like, not even on an emotional level, but just like sensory wise, I think he's very deprived because we don't ever see him outside of that basement.
It's because of Bert. He was always controlling him.
Yeah, it brings into question what their whole relation. It's been the question. It's the question on everyone's minds. Let's be honest. What?
For decades about the relationship.
Yeah. And I think we're going to be the first ones to propose the idea that Bert is Ernie's caretaker. Ernie is incredibly unstable, as demonstrated by this like overactive imagination, and so Bert's there to take care of him.
I think Bert is just this abusive asshole, and the thing that
have some sympathy for the man. He's got to spend all his time. Imagine the implications of someone that comes up with those sorts of stories at the simple sight of a picture. Imagine what that means for their entire relationship.
Well, your proposal for your interpretation is fine and dandy, but it's all based on this false premise that Bert and Ernie are people. They aren't. They're allegories of fascism.
Well, now wait, are the puppets the good? Are they the good guys, or are they the?
One of them is.
Which?
Ernie.
Okay.
Ernie is the proletariat.
Okay. I suppose.
Bert is fascist bourgeoisie fucking fucks.
The scene ends by a little flipperoo. You think Ernie's just being a goofball. He's screwing it up again. He's coming up with another story. Turns out Cookie Monster is there to save us with a little comic relief by yelling Cookie, and then we cut away. I expect a lot of that. But then, thank God, Gordon is there to save the day and give us the actual conclusions, is saving this story and tells us what actually happens.
Does he save the day, or does he just, is that like sort of the final... I think really under my interpretation of it as...
You have to understand that I'm speaking in terms of I'm within the Sesame verse. I'm looking at it.
I'm saying within every fucking verse. This is fucking fascist, and we can't allow this.
Let me live on Sesame Street.
They're what they want.
You're taking your outside points of view and you're planting them on top of Sesame Street.
Because the Sesame Street wants you to think. They want you to think there is an inside and outside of the box. Inside and outside the box, it's the same air. There is no inside and outside point of view. It's all the same point of view. You can't delineate this. It's all fucking life.
You haven't lived on fucking Sesame Street, man. You don't know what you're talking about.
I did.
God. Fucking... Alright. So, Dandelion's next. I don't know. He fucking wears a bunch of clothes and shit. It's like a lesson, be yourself or something. I don't like it. He's happy when he puts on the clothes. Who is this giraffe to stop him?
You can't look that too much into these stories, man. They're for children.
After that, we go to Solomon Grundy again. You all know what it is. It's a new nursery rhyme. It's probably like Old English or something because it's kind of like anti-dirt. And dirt was like a big problem back in like...
Wait, are we pro-dirt now?
We're not. We're neutral. We're dirt fluid.
Someone should tell Swiffer.
Kermit's going to teach us about hair next. It's on your head. That's really the point. Except, okay,
It only should be on your head. That's his fascist fucking point.
I'm on board with you here. I will join your fascist interpretation with this one because
no, you don't get it, man. There is no my interp and your interp. It's all the same. You
don't know Kermit. I know Kermit.
Well, not literally.
So it starts off, traditional. Where's hair? That's on your head. Yeah, that's a thing you should probably tell kids. Where else can hair be? On your chin. Okay, good. That's a beard. Beard's voice, by the way, top notch. Casting nailed it with that one. But then the third man, the final of the three, comes up. He's got hair all over. And what does Sesame Street define this as? A monster. Anyone with hair other than their head or their chin is a monster.
As someone hairier than most others, I am offended, personally.
There's no... Yes.
Am I a monster?
You tell me, America.
Am I a monster?
After that, we learn about the letter V from Gordon. By, he like cuts in half a W.
Yeah, W.
That's unfortunate because like the word W,
Yeah, you taught you.
yeah, it's
It could have
really
been a triple lesson. It could have been like bendy letters, and he cut it off, and it was like a V, but then he bent it, and it was a U.
yeah.
Or vice versa
It's
in regards.
an entirely font based
And
problem.
then on top of that, they could have done U and V, UV radiation, wear sunscreen, kids. That could have been like 4 lessons in there. Instead, they were just like, yeah, 2 V's make a W.
I don't think sunburns had been invented yet.
But he didn't. Okay, that's a good fair point. But he also didn't even like put the V up against things. How am I supposed to know? Like,
I mean, that's not what doors are shaped like.
well, other things can be. It can be shaped however you want.
Doesn't make
Did you
any
not
sense.
rewatch the fucking clip and learn like these children are, like they should be, according to fucking Mother Nature, and the universe.
Our final clip, aside from the recap at the very end, is a sort of it's a fun little it's silly. They've got some like dramatic pictures of fruit, and they're playing audio.
Wait, you skipped one.
I skipped one.
Lambs.
Oh, the lamb! Oh, I forgot the lamb. Oh, damn. Lamb was good. Another quality animal performance.
Yeah.
Just refusal
Also, they're
to.
useful.
Yeah, they give us wool.
I personally am not too emotionally involved in animal issues. I'm not a member of PETA, but I might. If I were, then that might be an issue, but I can't say for sure because I'm not.
It's hard to say. It's all a gray area in terms of this goat. Goat eats out of a bowl. It's kind of cute. I like goats.
He tries to run away at one point.
Yeah, the guy plays it off well though. He's a pro. Then we get to the thing I'm so anxious to get to. This dramatic shots of fruit in a bowl. An orange is prominent, and they're
But
playing.
Is it fruit?
It's definitely fruit.
See, I think that this, especially you have to look at the position, how they structured this episode. This just tops off. This confirms that the theme of it is, reality is what you make of it. It can be fruit. It can be the universe. It can be stars. It can be planets. Life is what you make of it.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. This has been episode 2 of Neighborhood Watch. Thanks, Russ, for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Michael, and you're welcome.
Yeah, do you have anything to
By the way,
plug while we're here?
Oh, well, one might say that I have not been caught yet. .blogspot.com.
So that's going to do it for us here at Neighborhood Watch. I've been your host, Michael Giannis, and we'll catch you next time.
Also, I have not been caught. The one might say
The music's playing. We're fading out.
Sure.